Well, hello. It's day 20. Welcome to another Nerds with Badges episode. Day 20 of my Kickstarter campaign for my comic book, DragonManx, my superhero comic book I've been working on for a few years now. As you can see, I have really fast internet here at work, even though we can't cloud game anymore, which sucks. The internet here is still blazingly fast, so I was able to contact Valve about my problem that I was having with my Steam Deck. I couldn't get the damn thing to come on because it was trying to force an update, which I didn't have space for. So I had to like wipe my Steam Deck. So I'm like doing some downloading, putting some games up here. I got to go back and check my cards, my micro SD cards that I have because I got like 50 of them. Because I'm just worried that my information, like when I put them in, that it might not read the data. I don't know. It might not. I might have to re-download all my games again. But I really just need to just get me like 2 terabyte flash drive and put in here or something, and maybe find me some wizard to upgrade my there we go my RAM and my storage because it just sucks having to like constantly swipe out micro SD cards, and I mean I have so many for my Nintendo Switch, it's just ridiculous. So hopefully when the next Nintendo Switch comes out, they'll have a better storage solution, or at least let you hook. I don't know if you can hook a hard drive up to the thing, even with the dock. Now this is the older model of the Steam Deck, and I have my green cover on it. This thing is pretty cool. It does not have a back stand on it, but interestingly enough, you can stand it. You can stand it up on a. If you put it on a flat surface, it will actually stand up. So I think this was like $15 off of Amazon. They have different colors, but I'm a green person, so obviously. So right now I'm downloading Persona. I've got 16 games up here, and I'm trying to decide if I want to put more, because the problem with the Steam Deck is that you download the game and then there's like Proton files that you have to download also, and even though you're able to move some of the Proton files onto your micro SD card, they still have some that will take up storage on your onboard storage. And I have the lower end model because I couldn't afford to buy another. I actually had the $700 model. And I'm so pissed. Every time I think about it, I just feel like just infuriated, and these really nasty things go through my mind, towards the person that took my shit. I mean, because I just, you save up for something and you buy it and you're happy, and then somebody just walks in your job and just takes your shit. So yeah, I'm just pissed. So I couldn't afford to buy the 700 model that I had initially, which had better features. You got perks from Valve. I can't access the special features anymore that I had before, and it's not the screen isn't the same. I'm running into problems with the storage. So this guy really fucked me up, whoever he is. He really fucked me up. It's part of my French. So every time I think about it, every time I look at my Steam Deck, I've actually been thinking about getting another cover, just something, just because every time I just constantly am reminded that somebody just walked into my job and just took my property. And the Steam Deck, you can lock your account with the password. So I don't think that they were able to get into my account or anything. I hope it was locked. But I don't know. It's kind of hard the way technology is now. You log into something, you connect to the internet, you connect to the servers, satellite. There's a fingerprint, a footprint that you leave behind. So stealing electronic stuff is just not a good idea, because if the person that you steal from has enough money and connections with law enforcement, they will find you. And there's video cameras everywhere, but you got low life, stupid people, or people that just don't care. and the police really weren't able to help me at all. They did a little investigation, came out here, person climbed in through a window, entered through another department, came in through another area, and had access to just go around and just help themselves to my shit that was plugged in, charging, and want my laptop, which was uploading a video at the time. I come back and it's like my shit is gone, and I'm like, what the hell? One charger was left. They left the charger for my laptop, and they left the controller, which they unplugged. So nice of them, right? They unplugged my controller from my laptop. Laptop still has a flash drive in it, uploading video to YouTube because I do my videos every day. It's a little fun hobby. I do things to keep me sane, to keep me from turning into a freaking serial killer. It's like coffee. So, I have something that keeps me mellow. And you just gonna take it from me, really. It's the kind of world that we live in now, man. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm ranting, but just stealing from people. So now that they have these new machines that are coming out that have fingerprint readers on them and facial recognition. So that's supposed to help because now you have passwords on every damn thing. And you have so many different accounts for different things and different passwords. And sometimes you have to change your password. So it's all because of dumb people stealing shit and just fucking it up for the rest of us. It's like the 7-Eleven down the street from here. My job closes now at 11 o'clock because too much craziness going on. So I worked here for like 17 years almost. 7-Eleven never had to close like that before, but it got so crazy, so we lost another freedom. And then the internet here at my job, which I've been complaining about, because somebody was doing something, it got the building in trouble. So now we can't. Then people giving the passcode out to people. All these things that dumb people do that end up, that's why we can't have nice things. Sometimes I wish I could move to like another country or something, and probably one day I will eventually do that. Because it'd be nice to get on a train and just not have to worry about some crazy person doing something or trying to snatch your phone and run with it or whatever, which is a thing one of my coworkers was telling me. It's just oh my God, she said she was on the bus and somebody just jumped up and grabbed somebody's phone and just like ran with it, and and the person was like, you know. So anyway, enough of my rant. So every time I look at my Steam Deck, I have to revisit that. So I may get another color cover or something. It's something I've just been thinking about because just this is just feel violated when somebody steals something from you. I was in Detroit a few years ago and somebody went in my friend's car and stole my backpack that had all my clothes in it. So my passport, birth certificate, my laptop, iPad, which had been a gift for me, which I'd had for years, all the files I had on my laptop, which I was not able to recover, personal things, my camera, PlayStation, Vita, everything 95% of what I brought on my trip was taken that time. I haven't been back to Detroit since. It used to be like my favorite vacation spot to go, but I haven't been back since because I don't know. I think subconsciously I'm still like super pissed. I'm pissed anyway. Now I was young once, I did dumb things, but um, just the nerve to go and like take someone's luggage, you know. Um, and the crazy thing is, there was a comic book convention going on at the same time in downtown Detroit. There was a car show. There was also some African festivals. This is like a lot of people. It was packed. So this person went inside this hotel and casino that we had parked in, and I don't know what it was about my friend's car that made it a target. I think it's because he parked so far away from everybody else. And I even said, dude, why are we parking all the way over here? I was expecting zombies to come running around the corner, like it looked like some zombie movie. There's like no cars. You can park your car way over here away from everybody else. So, it just stood out, I guess. So I did. The police department, they sent me a $250 check, but that was, it was real wonderful of them to do that because a lot of times if you don't have insurance on your stuff, you don't get anything. And the value of everything was taken, though. It was like several $1,000s. My clothes, I had like no clothes on my trip. It was a birthday trip, so Yeah, I was supremely pissed. But I've heard stories from other people, and I know that in some ways I got off easy. I've heard stories of people coming home from vacations and just finding their homes, ransacked. I've heard stories of people being in other countries and having everything taken and just being a damn nightmare. And they have to go to the embassy and, to get identification and all these different things. All their money's gone. And people that I know have been assaulted. So the world has just gotten so crazy. And I think that's why everybody, I don't care who you are, you adapt. And I think that this is making all of us a little bit crazy, honestly, because when you have stuff going on around you, it does eventually affect you. Try to stay in your own, just try to stay in your own corner of the universe and just do your own thing. Go to work, have your goals, and plan for your future. Just buy your groceries or whatever. But then you got to deal with craziness from other people for whatever reason. And I know that it's tough. Jobs, trying to. I mean, living here in California is kind of expensive. I live in my apartment rent is pretty cheap. Thank God I've been in my apartment since dinosaurs walked the earth, so they're only able to raise my rent just so much, and my utilities are included. But when I move out of that apartment, the rent is gonna increase. The neighborhood I live in has gotten more and more crowded over time. Freeway during rush hour is crazy. Got a lot of people, and so I would say most people that live here in California probably have a roommate if they're living in a halfway decent apartment. And if they have a house, certainly, unless you're like one of the percentage that's, like a millionaire or 100,000aire maybe. But it can be expensive, it can be costly. So you have like a lot of homeless people here in California too, and it's become an issue. And you have people that are desperate. You have people running into stores and stealing stuff now. That's the thing. You have home invasions. I don't hear that much about them as I used to a few years ago, but I know people steal packages from when you get out. You get deliveries. People getting ambushed, and then you have mentally ill people that just do things just whatever. So it's just the world sometimes is a scary place. I have anxiety. I've been able to deal with it, and um, some days are better than others. I don't have to take medication or anything, but I know some people that have anxiety and do have to take medication. I have considered actually getting a emotional support animal, actually, just kind of like help me to deal with social interaction. Sometimes it's difficult for me to deal with interaction with other people sometimes, but you got to fake it to make it. So I think I'm better when I'm in my element. It's just easier, of course. When I'm working on films and I'm around crowds, it doesn't really bother me because I'm in my element. But any other time, I just kind of feel like a fish out of water, just kind of like flopping around, trying to breathe, and trying to breathe the oxygen, and not really being able to do it, but just kind of just surviving. So one day, I think it was Earth, Wind, and Fire said that one day you'll find people like yourself. You'll find that family. I guess that you'll just be in that type of environment where you finally feel that you belong. Because even as a black gay man, sometimes I don't feel like I really fit in either of those. I don't know, getting deep, getting personal. Sometimes you kind of feel like an outsider. I mean, I'm just speaking for myself, but I know other people feel the same way. Different on different levels. But sometimes I don't fit in. As an LGBT, I don't fit in with the black. So, sometimes I feel like I don't fit in as a black man, and then society puts all kinds of things on you, labels, judges you, and when you look at Instagram and TikTok and all these things, sometimes you see people and you see all these people with these fabulous bodies and these beautiful homes and cars. It just kind of affects you. So, you know, these things are nice to have, but I think sometimes we just get our priorities. I think we focus on, we put value on things that are really not all that important. When you're looking at somebody that might have a beautiful body and be in a nice home or whatever, but that might not actually be their home that they're in. Because sometimes people do the image, And I remember seeing a video on Instagram where somebody was going and they were breaking somebody's apartment, and I guess they were like, like the apartment had like nothing in it, and the guy was eating like, I don't know what he was eating, like some cereal or something. He didn't have anything. He was it was just pathetic, and I guess the guy that was gonna rob him just kind of like gave him a lot of money and just kind of like left. But so sometimes people have an image that's not really them. So you have to be careful when you judge yourself, when you compare yourself to other people. And sometimes it can be difficult. The world is just so different, and I think it's changed so much in how we relate to each other with technology and all these things. And I really feel for the younger generation, because even though have we've evolved in a lot of ways, especially with technology, but I think that in some ways we've gone backwards. And I think that this generation sometimes is missed out on some things that because the world is just, you have information, it's accessible, and people relate to each other. They interact with each other differently, and I think that emotionally it's in some ways it's stunted us. But enough of that. I didn't mean to go off on that. I don't know. Maybe it's good for me to say all these things and get them out. Maybe somebody out there can relate to what I'm saying, and that's good, because I've seen other people talk about things, and it just helps me to connect. I talked to my therapist the other day. I hadn't talked to her in a while, and it really helped me to just talk and just hear her talk about her life as well. Because my therapist right now she's a new mother. She just had she's gonna have a baby next month. They said they were gonna have the baby. They induced the pregnancy, so it's gonna happen earlier than it was supposed to. But it's been difficult. So that's another thing, when sometimes you think that your problems are so crazy, there are people out there that might be dealing with things like, you're like, okay, maybe my life isn't as hard as I thought it was. Maybe I need to just kind of change my perspective a little bit. But there's nothing wrong with wanting to connect with other people. You just have to find a way that's effective. For some people, it's art, dance, singing, writing, you know. But anyway, as the hat says, nerds with badges. It's the name of my program. And I'm a nerd, who has badges, a badge. I'm a security guard. So when I started doing Nerds with Badges, the whole concept was to talk with other people that are into security, law enforcement, military, anyone that has a badge that's into like pop culture, comic books, video games, nerd culture, computers, all these different things, because it is a culture. So I'm doing a campaign right now from a comic book that I've been working on for a few years. The comic book is called DragonManx, and he's a kind of a Dark Knight superhero. Wolverine, Batman, Nightcrawler, kind of supernatural, deals with monsters, vampires, demons, scary stuff. I really want to make a very scary comic book. I mean, that's the whole idea for DragonManx, because his boyfriend is a vampire. Well, his ex-boyfriend is a vampire. Excuse me. So, Kickstarter, in case you're not familiar with crowdfunding, Kickstarter is like you want to put out something. You need money. People give you money. They give you money. You may give them an incentive or reward or perks, I guess that's another term. So you might support my comic book, and then in return, maybe you'll get a T-shirt, or maybe you get like some free comics or something. It just depends on the tier that the person who's doing the crowdfunding campaign fundraiser thing is really what it is. It's fun. It's raising funds for a project. So our goal was to make $2,000 in like a month. So we're $200 away right now from the goal of the $2,000. So this is the time when people start getting nervous. It's like, okay, we're on the edge. We're like on the verge. What's gonna happen? I've seen radio stations that I listen to. It's a station I listen to. K. It's a classical station. KUSC, I think it is, and they do these drives, and it's so annoying because you have to hear about it. Like I think they do these fundraisers for like maybe like a week or two, and I understand the importance of that, though. I mean, it's like you can't just say I'm trying to raise money and then just expect it to just happen. People just, you have to be in people's faces. You got to talk about what you're doing, and it helps. They have giveaways, different things that they do. They give away music, sometimes I guess apparel, clothing, different things to just kind of get people more motivated to give to their campaign fundraiser. So I totally understand now, and it's good to get people to that can help you, because for years I've been financing my own projects. I don't make a lot of money. I mean, I'm able to pay my bills, and I'm able to to do some things. I can buy video games. I can go see my family, but I'm not like like a rich or anything like that. So it definitely means a lot to when people give their money, because I know when I support people, when I give money to people's different projects, it feels good to know that you're part of something and you're helping somebody. And man, it definitely helps a lot when you're paying for things and some people help you, because man, it can get expensive. Not just doing comic books. I mean, when I was doing my films, I would get, man, I had known. I wish Kickstarter was a thing back in 2008 when I started doing my web series, because I could have got and I've heard of angel investors. I've heard of people that give grants and loans and all these programs, and you can find books, and it's like I don't know, is this real? Or is this just you want me to give you money for information? And it's like it's still, I personally have not really encountered these, like there's no quick and easy way that somebody's just going to give you money. I mean, if that happens, I mean, it's wonderful. I don't think I personally know anyone either who's had like that kind of support. Now I've heard about grants and loans that you can get for projects, but I'm sure it's not just that simple. Now I myself have always paid my own money. I hire the actors. I hire someone to work with me on the script if I need help. I pay for the food for everybody, pay for the location, pay the camera person, sound person. I have to pay somebody to do the special effects. You got to pay somebody to do the music. You know, Sometimes you might have to get insurance, and and then doing superhero stuff, you got to get costumes. So like all these things add up. So I look back and I see some of the things that I've worked on and how much. I mean, it was I really have some. I can feel proud of myself knowing what I did. How I was able to do that. But as I did more and more film stuff, my web series, I did get I did find one person who was investing in me, but that was like a few years ago, and that actually turned into a bad situation for me, because I ended up losing ownership and creative control over one of my projects, and it was just devastating. And this is something that you have to be careful of. Anyone out there, if you if someone is helping you out, helping investing in, make sure that you do not don't give up your creative control. You gotta be like adamant. Don't give people your creative control over your shit. This is your vision, your goal. And make sure you can do contracts too, to be safe. Contracts are good, it's legal and binding. but don't give up control. Don't let people come in and try to take over and change your vision. Now, sometimes it's good to get support, creative support if you're working on something. Because if I'm writing something and I've got like six main characters, it's good to bring in some other writers to work out. That's different. It's collaborative effort, but uh, sometimes people will take over projects, and you have to be careful about that. You have to be careful. So, the music industry, there's so many horror stories of people getting ripped off for their music, people stealing people's music. And I hear all these stories about people, record companies, singers, people even that I like and look up to, and just shady shit that goes on behind the scenes. And so sometimes artists are just, you know, taken advantage of. I've worked with people who did not even want to pay their actors, and I was like, you know what, you can't do that. Really, these people versus getting in their car and they're coming across town to be in your project, you don't want to pay them. So there are people who are just like the parasites, so they don't really think of talent as actual people with feelings and bills to pay. So that's all I want to say about that. Just be careful about ownership of your stuff. And I had to learn that the hard way. But DragonManx will probably be somewhere between 6 to 12 issues. I mean, it depends on how long the novel ends up being because I have not finished the novel. But this story is the arc is about teddy bears that are supposed to protect these kids with psychic abilities, and the teddy bears have been basically corrupted by a force that's making the teddy bears that's supposed to protect the kids turn against the kids. So that's what the story is about. So I started working on this as a novel, and I kind of got stuck. So my plan is to bring in a writer. I tried that before, but the writer that I was working with, sometimes you have writers that are really not. You got to make sure that that this person is uh, is really able to get your vision. Because it's like you don't want to hire someone to work on your science fiction novel that doesn't really have a background in fantasy and science fiction. You might get a story that is not. So I didn't know all these things when I was first starting out. It's just lessons that I had to learn. But I definitely want to bring in a writer that can help me finish the novel. I don't know how long. I forgot how many pages a novel has to be. So the novel is just one project. The novel and the comic book and the web series, because DragonManx is a live action character as well. I would like to get into video games with my connected universe. DragonManx video game, animated projects, even apparel. I definitely want to get some Nerds with Badges stuff done because people have talked to me, have requested shirts. So that would be something I would look into. I was watching a really interesting video on TikTok about this lady who has a company that does these really cool shirts and things. So I had to do my research, and then sooner than later, I'll probably be leaving this job because it's kind of hard to have a job and do all these things. I mean, it's good to have a job in the beginning. It just kind of helps you, and then eventually then you're able to just kind of evolve to the point where you're in business for yourself. Then I got to learn about paying taxes, LLCs and all those different things. Is the business aspect of all this is very time consuming. So it can be, I think you can do it and have a regular job, but I think eventually you get to the point where you're going to have to just put all your time and energy into it. And I got to figure out how the insurance works, and you gotta, you don't have that insurance from your job to rely on anymore. Dental and coverage and all those things that you have to worry about. But I do believe that my DragonManx connected universe with Sons of Legend, Sins of Legend, Satchwatch, and Mythology Sisterhood. All these things have legs. So, like anything, say for example, you think about Mickey Mouse, you think about Superman. Superman is like a pop cultural icon, but there's just so much. There's shirts, books, video games, music, even. I mean, just Superman's like a monster. So you have a franchise like that. Mickey Mouse, bed sheets, cereal, as soups, candy, everything. You could just, you have a successful franchise. The sky's the limit. So anyway, this is day 20 of my Kickstarter campaign for Nerds with Badges episodes. My Nerds with Badges episodes have been focusing. Recently, they've been focusing on my campaign. This is day 20. I'll be back again tomorrow with another video, and I have some other things planned for the weekend. So thank you so much for your time and for tuning in. Saturday, Sunday, probably get everybody's schedule. I want to do a Zoom conference with the publisher and the artist that's featured in the other comic book, because it's two comic books that are being featured in this particular campaign. The other comic book is about a wrestler, by a wrestler in real life, and he lives in Singapore. So we did a conference call last weekend, and I did it on my Chromebook, which is wonderful. But I didn't have the damn recording, the microphone turned on, so I got like an hour of just wonderful conversation and video. But then I go back and I watch it, and it's just video, no audio. So we have to do it again. Sometimes it happens. You just do it again. You do it bigger and better. But this time I'm gonna make sure, like Batman, I have a contingency plan for this. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Just have to schedule everything because the time difference and all. One person is like in New Jersey, I think, another person is in Singapore. So and then we have another person that may be moderating. So look forward to that coming up. And we got 10 more days to go in this campaign. 10 more days. This is when the suspense starts to hit in.